Jeff Yalden. You blame it on the Don't blame it on the mirror. Boom!
Hey, my friends, Jeff Yalden here. I want to share with you this incredible story and a defining moment that I had in one of my most recent speaking engagements. I was on a college campus and I was talking to about 400 student athletes when after my talk, as everybody's dispersing the gym, this young man comes up to me. He comes up to me in a way where he's kind of looking around, waiting for people to leave because he didn't want to be seen talking to the mental health guy, the suicide prevention guy. And he comes up to me, good-looking guy. He introduces himself. I say, hey, man, I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you. He said, can I ask you a question? I says, yeah. This young man is 21 years old, a senior, and he was the captain of the football team. Yeah, he was the captain. He said, what is your take on, as an athlete and smoking pot, what's your take on that? I looked at the young man. I said, let me tell you something. I've always said that if I can't be honest with my audience, I don't want to do this. I said, I'm not a drug and alcohol guy. I said, I've never smoked pot. I don't drink. I've never even touched a cigarette. And what am I supposed to say? It's bad. It's good. It's this, it's that. When all of our states, it seems like, is starting to legalize marijuana. I said, but let me ask you this question. I said, here's my take. You and your boys, you go out after a game. You have a couple of drinks, and that's what you do. I mean, you're 21 years old. You drink responsibly, intelligently. You're of the age. I have no problem with that. I said whether it's alcohol, pot, vaping, juuling, opioids, painkillers. I said my big question to people that self-medicate is simply this. Are you coping with something in your life, maybe brokenness or pain in your heart, that is causing anxiety, stress, you're overwhelmed, the expectations are too high. And so by maybe you smoking pot, it's making you feel better in the here and the now, so you don't have to feel and have these thoughts, and you don't have to address that. But the thing is, when you're done drinking or smoking pot, the next day, these issues are still there. I said, am I making sense? He looked at me and says, yeah. I said, my question is simply that. Are you smoking pot because it makes you feel better than having to feel whatever you might be dealing with in life, your past? He says, yeah. He said, I got a couple things going on, family. And I said, then if you're asking me my opinion, absolutely it's wrong. I said, here's why. What you don't speak out, at some point, you're going to act it out. And so here you are, 21 years old. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, you're captain of the football team. Sophomore comes up to you, he's struggling in school, his girlfriend, whatever it might be. And he says, hey man, I'm going through some tough times. What would you tell him as a captain? You'd probably say, hey man, talk to coach, or have you gone to the counseling center? I said, you'd probably tell him what is the right thing to do. I says, right? He says, well, yeah. I said, then you're a hypocrite, man. I said, you know what to tell people, but you ain't willing to do it yourself. I said, you're the captain of the football team. Why, if I were to say to you, the therapy and counseling, learning how to cope, problem solve, learning how not to avoid but to address these issues, or the rejection, the abandonment, the brokenness, whatever it might be in your life. If a therapist or counselor can talk to you in a way that will give you the same feeling that you're getting by self-medicating in an unhealthy coping way, but you're going to be coping in a healthy way, you'd probably be interested in that, right? But the thing is, the stigma. You don't want your teammates to think, oh man, you're in counseling. You know, something's going on. You're part of the problem, my friends. I need you to be part of the solution. I'm Jeff Yalden. I'm diagnosed with major depression, bipolar type 2, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm proud of that. I'll tell you why I'm proud. Because when I was diagnosed, I started to look back at my past and I realized that it wasn't my parents, it wasn't my teachers, it wasn't my coaches, it wasn't my friends, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, it wasn't her. I started to look at myself and realize that I'm the problem. And the moment that I acknowledged it and I addressed it and I started to work on me as a person, my whole life changed, man. And you know something? I ain't never met someone that thinks I'm any less or weak of a man because I'm in therapy, I'm in counseling, and I ain't ever met anyone that thinks I'm any less or weak of a man because I'm on medication. My friends, I want to ask you, if you don't address issues in your life today, it's going to manifest, and at some point where your responsibilities and obligations are greater, it's going to show up then. And if you wait, the consequences as your responsibilities and obligations are greater, the consequences are much greater themselves too. My friends, I hope this message was able to mean something to you. It's okay to ask for help. And as a matter of fact, it's okay to not be okay. But it's not okay to not be okay and to not deal with it. My friends, I appreciate you listening. Take care. And remember, I love you.